welcome to another episode of Shooting
the Shit with Rachel
and Neal Young. So we're talking all things real estate photography business growth, mindset, and getting it done. Here come your favorite true entrepreneurs, Rachel and Neal Young, shooting the shit.
I have a ferret on the Like if we're kind of in a slump, like what kind of things do you do?
Talking about a boob light.
Straddling a power line.
Nice photo.
Ooh, I need that.
I'm like red right now because I'm embarrassed. I go like this. I love it.
Hey, come in.
Sure. Use your podcast voice.
You know, over here, I'm pitting out.
Drone's like flipping to the ground.
That's a great callback.
Chit-chatting.
Is that what you call that?
Hey! This episode is brought to you by my admin. Well, HD Photo Hub, which is basically like having an admin.
That's right. And it's not just a delivery platform. It's a powerhouse designed to make your work shine. From stunning teaser videos and social media reels to custom property websites and polished printable flyers, HD Photo Hub automates it all so you can focus on what matters, growing your business.
That's right. Our guests today are talking to us about the success they're having pricing their services off of the home selling price versus square footage or number of photos. We've got Kelly and Brian from localflavorfilms back again for part 2 of this interview. Let's dive right in. Speaking about money, though, I want to get into this. So this is a super interesting thing that you guys have done. And I had not heard of this before, but you guys, I think, talked to some people at PMRE, if I'm not mistaken, about this. I think that's where you decided to make this shift too. But you guys totally switched, not just raising your prices, but you switched the way you charge instead of being off square footage or numbers of photos. Tell us how you're charging.
Okay. Do I get to talk again?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. My favorite thing
Just real quick.
she did. My favorite thing to do is talk. We were so we'll just come right out with it. So there's no spoiler alert here. But no, we went from the square footage model to charging by listing price. Yeah. And we did not make that decision lightly. We've been thinking about it for 6 months, honestly. And so we were really excited to go to PMRE and talk to some folks and see if anybody else has done that or is doing that. There's been that topic that's popped up in the Facebook groups a couple of times, and most people are like, "Oh, you're crazy, don't you know?" But there are a few folks that are definitely doing it this way, and the ones that say that have done it said they've never go back, And so we just did our research and did a lot of thought about it, and that's part of the reason too that we've done broker meetings for a long time, but that's part of the reason that we really wanted to talk to our top 20% clients. We still haven't even got through that list, but just like, hey, here's our new offerings and things are changing, but our whole goal is to support y'all in a way that that is different, in the past. And if you're not successful, we're not successful. So this is how we're going to help you be successful. And it's elevated them. But getting back to the question, we came up with that strategy because the Atlanta market is so diverse and I guess probably a lot of markets are, but because we cover a huge geographical area, we are north of the city, so we've always heard like from people that hire us inside the Atlanta metro area, oh, you guys are cheap. And then we go up to the mountains like, oh my gosh, you guys are expensive. But where we're at, is kind of a good middle ground. And that's always been based on the square footage. Well,
I actually said higher than a cat's back.
Yeah, higher than a cat's back. Yeah, in the mountains.
That was their expression.
That's cute.
I've never heard that in my life.
Y'all are higher than a cat's back.
Higher than a cat's back.
Yeah.
That was from the mountains, wasn't it?
That was.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Y'all are higher than a cat's back. I know it took them a long time to get it out too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Cat's back.
You can hear it, right?
And what we found though is, first of all, we hadn't raised our prices in 5 years, so shame on us, right? We found ourselves, instead of raising prices, we would look every year at what the popular items were, and we'd make a new package, a new bundle of services. And then last year, Kelly's like, she's like, oh my gosh, we have, like, as the new clients would come in, like, oh my gosh, I have no clue what to freaking order because you have 20 freaking packages. Like, what the hell? So it was ridiculous, right? It was
Online booking should have made our lives easier, but it actually created more phone calls because they're like, just tell me what I'm supposed to order.
Yeah. So, and we know from listening to y'all's podcast, like, yep, 3 items. Yep. Okay. So this is the year we're going to do that. We're going to just really simplify it because instead of raising our prices, we added more packages. And so we really, that was some brain work right there to kind of just narrow it down to 3, first of all. But in doing that, if you go into a 400 square foot condo that's selling for $2 million in the middle of Atlanta, they would order a $150 20 image photo shoot. We're like, ugh. And then the park, it would take you an hour to park. And then you got to, go meet the concierge, you got to get in the elevator, so you'd spend 3 hours for a 20-minute shoot. Well, that's just not fair compensation for the photographers, for any of us to get out there and spend 3 hours when you can do that shoot in 20 minutes, and anywhere else, you just roll up to the property and go in and do your thing. So that's part of what we started thinking, like, okay. And then, then you go out to, a 7,000 square foot home and, that's really out in the rural area, and it may be 375. So there's pluses and minuses to both sides, to both ways of doing it for sure. But with the diversity, in the geographic location that we cover, it just started making more sense. So what we did, rather than, I think we were doing like every 2,000 square feet, we did that for 10 years. Every 2,000 square feet was a different.
We had a shoot count. We've gotten rid of our shoot counts too,
That
which
too.
has been an enormous gift, that our photographers aren't stressed out by having to cull their photos. It's not that they don't cull, they still cull them, but it's not like 35 or else we need to call the client and ask if they want a $20 add-on for 5 more photos. Like, all that's gone. It's just like, we're shooting the property what it needs. And it doesn't matter what the shoot count is, because if it's a 7,000 square foot home. But now that we have the list price, I have gotten the question twice yesterday about, hey, I had a smaller home that you shot 2 weeks ago that was, less expensive than the house that y'all are shooting next week. And so I looked, and sure enough, the list price was different. So I had to explain, hey, even though it's a smaller home, the list price is higher, which means that
we're going to give you more photos. We're going to take detail shots.
It needs more content. You're going to need more images for a house that's higher priced. And they both got it, thankfully. But we hadn't had that question until now, because people are now like doing 2 and 3 shoots with us. And so they're trying to like figure out our pricing.
The new clients is what she's referring to. Yeah.
So can you explain that a little bit? So if it's a house that's under 500,000, or like, what are your price, what are your tiers, and what's included?
Every 500, a million, million five, 2 million. So yeah, so that's how we did it. We thought about doing 4, 8, 1.2, 1. Whatever the next one is. My math's not so good at this time of night. So we just figured, like, we didn't want to have too many tiers either, because we had tiered everything to death over the years. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 photos. Pick a, here, pick a card.
Spin the wheel.
And so we just really wanted to simplify. And so, like, well, I think we just do, up to 500,000, a million, 1.5, and then anything over 1.5.
I would say probably 75% of our shoots are like between the 5 and 1 where we are. So it just makes it simple. There's very few things that are under 5, like in our area. So,
okay. Yeah. And you offer more photos with the higher price? You said like detail shots. Would you not do that on this smaller?
We do it on every shoot. No. So we absolutely, no, every shoot gets everything it needs for sure. So, and then just to kind of get into the packages, how we simplified that, we used to have so many add-ons that was also ridiculous. So our basic photography package includes a floor plan that used to be an add-on. Last year we did about 2,000 shoots. 86% of them had either added a floor plan or bought a package that had a floor plan in it. So we're like, well, everybody just needs to do floor plan. It needs to have a floor plan. So in our market, Zillow is really popular. Like, everybody loves that Zillow boost.
Psst. Sorry to interrupt. If you haven't heard, Rach and I are using Pixl CRM.
Pixl CRM isn't just another boring tool. It's basically your business's best friend. With Pixl CRM, you can automate your lead generation, follow-ups, client communication, and stay top of mind with email campaigns. And there's just so much more.
And if you want, you can try it out today. Just go to pixlcrm.com/STS, and you're going to get the first month of Pixl CRM free.
And so we've just been doing that one for probably 4 or 5 years now, I guess. We never really got into the Cubicasa bandwagon just because people always ask for that Zillow boost. And so
they might not love Zillow, but they love the boost. And like, they'll send me screenshots that they got 14,000 views in the first week. So it works because we didn't really know how to quantify that to them. It's like, okay, we can say that Zillow boosted it, but like, how do we know that? I wouldn't know unless they send me the screenshots, and I'm like, okay, it actually works. So that's kind of part of my conversation with them whenever they book a shoot or call to find out about us. We're like, yes, we include the floor plan and the 3D tour. It includes a 7-day boost, and it's not just maybe it works. It's like we have results from it actually working, and they're like, okay, I hate Zillow, but I'll do it because they want more eyes on the property.
Yeah.
So how does that work? You guys have to be how do what do people do who aren't currently doing the Zillow thing who want to offer that? You have to be approved through Zillow. How does it work?
Now, so that's a good question. So the Zillow, their listing showcase thing that they do, that's really just about a different look on their page, and to get for the agent to get their branding on Zillow's website. So if you don't, and you have to pay Zillow for that. The agents have to pay Zillow for that, right? So they buy,
The listing showcase.
yeah, for the listing showcase. So they buy X amount per month, X amount of listings per month, which I think they will have, and those roll over. And so that's a whole different product, but that's really it's really about the agent's marketing on the listing on Zillow. So it's kind of like they're paying twice. They're paying the MLS to list it, and then they're paying Zillow to get their branding on the listing on Zillow. That's Zillow's listing showcase product. And so, but this, the Zillow Boost, anybody can get, and you don't have to be, all you need to do is download the Zillow 3D Home app and sign up with Zillow, and that's all through the app, I believe. We've been doing it for so long, I forget. But anyway, and then just do you just go and you use a 360 camera versus your phone. You can use your phone, I believe, but it's a lot easier with a 360 camera, like a Ryko or the Insta 360 brand. I think they've got 10 different cameras that they've approved, and it doesn't do GLA. Like I know a lot of people do like GLA, but we've gotten zero pushback from that in the 3.5, 4 years we've been doing it. It's really, because it's about the boost, right? It's like, hey, I want to stand out against my competition. I want to boost so that I get, so all the other homes that are listed every Thursday, it's, and I'm probably the same everywhere, but everybody likes to list on Thursday so they get the weekend traffic. So when all the listings drop on Thursday, boom, for that first week, all of our clients get that boost, compared to people that aren't doing it. And so that's how that works.
And then you include the floor plan with that, or do you charge extra
We
for
do.
that?
No. So, we don't do anything. We have no a la carte products anymore. So
interesting.
even our basic photography package includes the floor plan. And we've had a couple that say, well, I don't need a floor plan, and say, it's free. So we can give you a fake refund if you want, imaginary refund. But anyway, so
or you
that,
could just take it.
Huh?
Take the floor plan.
Take it and like it.
You get it, and you're gonna like it.
we do have a client that she every time when she first goes and meets with the homeowner, it's actually pretty smart. She actually does her own Cubicasa, right? Because we know Cubicasa is also pitching to the agents, and it's easy, it's quick and easy. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, depends on the size of the home. But she'll actually do it because a lot of times the tax records aren't correct. And at least the South, this is true in New Hampshire. My dad was a builder, like I said, but in the South, you get a lot of people. I'm gonna make my own basement, or whatever, and so they don't get a permit. It's not recorded with the county, and so the square footage is.
I.e., they don't want to pay the property tax.
That
on it.
yeah.
Yes.
So exactly. So the square footage a lot of times is not right, even from the county records, and so this agent goes and she does the actual floor plan with this Cubicasa, and then she's got that. So a few times at first she was like, "No, I don't need a floor plan." And so like, well, but that doesn't give you a boost on Zillow. Oh, yeah, okay, I want the floor plan.
Do you have to have the floor plan included in the Zillow 3D Home Tour to get the boost?
Correct. It's a combo product.
It's a combo product.
And
Okay,
so
because I have a lot of clients who do the showcase, and that's
Mhm.
just a pain in the butt to have to upload their photos for them, but we do it at no additional charge. Do you charge for that?
Mm-mm.
Okay,
No,
yeah, we don't either.
And it's
Takes
pretty
2
quick,
seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna see if we get away with charging, but probably not. Okay, good to know. So if you just
they
do a
have
Zillow
to.
3D Home Tour, no boost. It has to have that floor plan with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it has to.
Yeah.
So it's a combo product. Yeah. So I think Zillow actually gives you three products, and one is it's a 2D floor plan like you get with Cubicasa, and then they have
Mhm.
their what they call their interactive 3D, and then there's the 3D home tour. So, I mean the 3D home tour looks like it doesn't look, it's not a Matterport, I'll tell you that. It's
Yeah,
nothing
No.
yeah.
like it's nothing like
No.
that.
It's for
Or
function, not beauty. That's what I
right.
I
tell them.
yeah, a long time
Yeah.
ago
So
I did one of those through Zillow and I was like, well, this is garbage. And I
Mhm.
never did it since, but it's
Uh-huh.
funny that people don't talk about it around here. Not to me so far.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. So do you get people who call you up and you're like, I'll have a number 22 and boost it.
how
I'll
so if
supersize that.
That's
can
funny.
you
Make it
do just a floor plan with the Zillow? I think you said you're
No.
giving out floor plans with a lot of packages and you're not using Kubicasa. Are you using Second Floor or is there another app you're using?
No, so
It's
you
all
can,
Zillow.
so yeah, you can either do, you can do just a 3D tour with Zillow, or
Mhm.
if you do the floor plan, it's all of it. It's floor plan 3D tour and interactive floor plan.
You take all that time to do that tour.
It's one scan.
Oh, what?
It's
Yeah.
In
one
each
scan.
room.
Well,
Right.
right, but I'm
Like
saying like
10
when
minutes.
you take the Ryko and you pop it through the house and in each room, all three products come back from that one scan. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
and you're
quick.
giving that away for free.
Well, we
Not
doubled our
really.
price.
Mm-hmm.
it's part
That's
of a package.
okay.
Part of a package.
So
Yeah, part of the
that goes to
package.
our
Gotcha.
price increase, right? So
Okay.
which would, kind of the second half of this, first we changed it from square footage to listing price, and then because we were underpriced on our photography products for sure, just our a la carte photography, because we hadn't raised it in 5 years, and that
Hmm.
was, I think 40% of people were ordering, had to order just photography, and so that doubled. So we doubled that price and said, well, now you get a free floor plan.
Wow.
And so that's, I don't know the percentage of that. It was too early to tell. We'll look at after first quarter to see what that looks like compared to last year. But, um, and then, our next package adds drone, like Kelly mentioned earlier, adds drone and a reel, like a basic kind of one take, what we call a one take walkthrough reel. It's just one single take all the way through and speed ramped. And then the higher end package is video. It's like,
Do you guys do
um,
Matterport or iGuide?
we do Matterport. That's that's the little redheaded stepchild product way over here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The one we
We
all
just don't
hate.
get a lot of it since COVID,
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
except for
It
vacation.
died
We do
down
vacation
quite
rentals
a
a little
lot.
bit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
Commercial.
Kelly, you
And
said you did it
rentals.
during COVID. Never mind. I am
It was
listening, I promise.
so much
Yeah.
during COVID, so much
Yeah.
so that we bought a second one, and now they're just really expensive dust collectors.
I
We're
was gonna
just like,
say,
Hey,
dang.
yeah.
I have a ton of clients who do Matterport. It is
Do you
Really?
really?
popular here. Yeah.
Huh.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I only have one main client that does it all the time. The rest of them don't. The rest of them want video. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're pushing video pretty hard. I mean, we don't push Matterport at all. If somebody
Matterport
calls and
doesn't.
says like, talk to me about Matterport or video, I'm never gonna recommend
Hmm.
Matterport.
Yeah,
Mm.
I always
I
tell
love
them, look,
Matterport.
I'd rather
Yeah.
you
Really?
I'd rather you spend the money branding yourself so you win more
Exactly.
listings.
What do you like about it, Rachel? I'm curious.
So when I was house shopping, any house
Mm.
that had a Matterport tour, I didn't have to go to the house and look at it.
Mm-hmm.
I could literally walk through and I knew, and you could see everything so close. You could
Yeah.
see the condition of the trim, like how beat up is this house really, if they
Mm-hmm.
used, usually if it was the Pro 2 camera.
Mm-hmm.
But I just liked it because I really got a feel for the property. And it's like a
So you like it as
24
a,
hour, I sell it as it's a 24-hour open house for your clients.
Yeah.
It's
mm-hmm,
great for out of
mm-hmm.
state buyers,
Yeah.
and you really truly get to walk through and look at everything in the home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when people ask me
For
that
sure.
question, like, "Hey, should I do video or a Matterport?" And that's kind of a question around here anyway, just because it's like that's what they think of, like going in the extra mile, kind of. That's the only. I'm like, hey, if you think that this property is really something that people are going to want to see out of state, and that's going to be like a big potential for clients, then you probably want a Matterport. But
Mm-hmm.
outside of that, I recommend video for branding them more than branding the house. Yeah, because I think I see it as a build. I'm really focused on getting my agents to win more listings. So the only other thing I will say about Matterport is at a listing appointment, it can be like a wow factor to show them this cool thing because a lot of people have never seen it. And when they see it, they're like, "What? That's so cool!" So
Mm-hmm.
there is that trade-off. But as far as like
Mm-hmm.
posting it on social media is not going to do anything for you. So video
Right.
is really the thing for that.
Yeah.
So
I
Rachel,
loved the
oh,
measuring tool in there. I measured
mm-hmm.
out
Yeah.
when my house that I bought had a Matterport tour and I went in and I positioned and drew little squares where my 2 chairs would go, where my coffee table was going to go, and measured it all out. And I was like, oh, this will actually work. My desk fits perfectly where I wanted it to go, like to the inch. It's amazing. So I loved it, honestly.
So
but I had a lot
as
of
a
clients
consumer,
who
just
don't
what
like
about
it.
shooting it?
Oh, shooting it's terrible. I hate the product.
So that was the answer I was
100%.
looking for.
Customer service is awful.
It's so
many
annoying.
That was what I
eliminators.
was looking for.
Matterport,
Yes.
they are just dropping the ball, and it's like, what are you doing? Because you could solve these problems, and we could just love the product and sell even more of it. I don't understand them. It doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, terrible customer support, and the product is constantly getting in the way.
There's demand. There's no one else like them.
They're just resting on their laurels until they get knocked off their throne. Yeah.
You want a dollhouse with that?
If you love you a dollhouse, you're gonna love Matterport.
So have
You
you
can
guys
spin it
had
right
any,
around.
have you guys had any like kickback on this? Like someone, I'm assuming that the downtown Atlanta area is more expensive than the Hill Country. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you
Hill
guys?
Country.
The
I know.
Hill
Is that
Country,
a thing? The
mountains.
Hill Country?
I don't know.
That sounds
the
like
mountain area.
a new show on Netflix. The Hill Country.
The Hill Country is a thing in Texas. I know the Texas Hill Country, but yeah, it is more expensive in Atlanta for sure.
Yeah. So do you ever get any pushback from client? Like you kind of touched on it a little bit, but how are you, like, what is your conversation with the client when they come in? They're like, well, it's only 1,000 square feet, but I'm selling it for 2 million. Could I get a lower, could I get it? Like, how do you deal with that? Or have you had to?
Yeah, a little bit, not as much as I anticipated, but I get those calls, and they have not been frequent, shockingly enough, because we kind of got ahead of it in that we introduced this idea to our clients at the end of last year, and we've been so communicative with them. It's not like a shock to anybody other than people that haven't worked with us before. So our current clients were very well aware of what we were about to do. I think that has served us very well. And there's got to be an enormous value proposition behind it, which is where kind of the stress is coming from, because we have to deliver. And I've been so stressed out about our other photographers out in the field, because I'm like, we had them over at our house. We gave them this big presentation. We're like, this is where we're going, and we have to deliver. I can't like stomach a phone call that we sold hard on the front end and we're asking for double the money that they're used to paying or whatever it was, and then we don't deliver. Like, it's just not acceptable. And so I've been stressed out in that regard. But the conversations, sometimes they're like, I had one today. Well, I had a broker presentation. Zillow came in. They talked to us about Listing Showcase. My broker bought Listing Showcase, so I'm going to use it on my next listing with you guys. So talk to me about, they said that they've got Zillow photographers. Talk to me about that, Sure. I was like, I bet we've done 6 reshoots for Zillow photographers in the last 3 months.
Yeah.
And I hate to see that. I hate when people call like that, because then you're just like, the money is just out the window. There's nothing they can do. And I said, I'm sure that Zillow has some really great photographers, but that's a starting point for a photographer. So yeah, you can call them and they are going to give you a better price, but it's not going to compete with our product. And he's like, yeah, that's true. You get what you pay for. And they probably don't do these really cool reels that you guys are doing. And I was like, I honestly don't know what their service offering is, but I do know, what we're offering to you. He got a ton of traction on his last reel that he did with us. And so it's like,
nice.
Just kind of talking them through our value proposition. And it's become a lot easier to do, because we've just been talking to them so much on the front end of everything, so that they're not just like shocked by anything that we're doing. But I have been honestly really surprised at how few of those conversations that I've had. I hate to even say that out loud, but everyone is, I think that the brokers are pushing them to do all these things, and that's really helped us a lot.
I think
we're just hearing it all the time.
They're finally going like, we can't ignore this anymore, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and you make it easy by saying it's just one sentence. Like that's doable. Okay, I can do that. Versus like a lot of them see these walkthroughs and it's like you're talking through the whole house. That's overwhelming to a lot my people. So I think that's probably on your side too. We just have to come up with one creative hook and we'll help you craft it. I love that. Yeah.
My agent loves the no talking whatsoever, to just do the reel to music where she just waves in and we walk through and she goes across screen a couple times. She loves that because she's like, no stress whatsoever. I just
hangs out in the bathtub.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you saw
Yeah,
Always
saw
in the
that.
bathtub
I saw that.
Yeah,
eating
and
popcorn.
yeah, popcorn, but yeah, yeah, it's one of my agents. She loves it because she stopped doing videos at one point because
Oh,
she hated being on camera and like she would get like a little like ribbon from her husband about what he thought how he thought she sounded and stuff, and so she didn't want to do them
mm.
anymore. And come up with this one, she wants to do it every time now. Yeah.
Hmm.
You should buy your husband a case of beer or something. Like, hey man,
Right? I need you to
she
pump
was
her
doing
up,
great
not pull
until
her
you opened your
down.
mouth.
Heck.
Well, yeah, I feel like, yeah, I can see how, I think the pitfall is getting caught up in the idea of number of photos is where you always kind of go back in your head like, well, this one, why would it be more or less photos because of the price? And why is it more or less work because of the price? Because I might want to instinctually go, well, yeah, some of the more expensive, like you go to $1 million apartment, even if it's 500 square feet, there probably is going to be a lot more photos, but it's not always the case. You can't just go by that because it could fluctuate. But
Mhm.
I think there is an answer in there somewhere just about like it's the right solution. It's the solution that makes sense. And I don't know what the right answer is, but there's something in there that it's like, hey, over the course of, we think is the best thing, honestly, for you guys because, when you're making more money, you can afford more money. I don't want to charge you a
That's
lot of
it.
money when you're not making a lot of money.
Mhm.
Which is
That's it.
kind of the last case where I was charging by square footage, but you might not have been getting much up in the mountains for that property and you were charged more. So we feel like it's a better relationship for both of us. And that might be a safer play somewhere in there, right? I don't know exactly what it is, but
Yeah,
yeah.
and
Pretty
we
much.
haven't really advertised that we are pricing by
Mm,
price.
Hmm.
My
It's
list
not,
price. Yeah.
yeah, by listing price. It's not out there in their faces. It's really just the people
oh,
that are, it says on our pricing starting at blah, blah, blah.
right. So they just click the package. You do the research on the property, see what the square footage is. You come up with a plan for the social and all that. I see. Yep.
No, so
They
Interesting.
put
we
in,
yeah,
yeah,
so when they
they put in the listing price and our booking system knows which package to put them in. So,
Mm,
um,
mhm.
based on what we've determined, the up to five to a million,
Gotcha.
all that, it just automatically gives them that price.
Yeah. So it's just a required thing when they book.
Yeah, and our
Yep.
price
yeah.
list isn't out there on our website to where they can't see that starting at price.
Mhm.
So I just haven't gotten a lot of questions about that.
That's great.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we
you
used to
have
publish our
just,
price, but we took it offline. We took it offline, yeah.
oh, really? Okay.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Didn't have mine on forever, and I finally put it online this year because I felt like it was a barrier to entry. Like when people are researching different companies, all the other competition has it listed. And I'm like, if they have to take that extra step to log into HD Photo Hub, create an account to see my pricing, I feel like who wants to do that? I would just go to the next one, if it were
That
me.
we thought, well,
But
it's funny you say that. So we didn't have it online for 10 years. And last year, Kelly's like, can we please put it on? Because I'm sick of these calls,
yeah.
And so I just, I really, we didn't want to. I didn't want to anyway. And so she finally, I was like, okay, we'll do it. So we had the pricing page up last year. And then we found we had a lot of other problems that created. Then we have like for sale by owners or, and it says right at the top of the page, it said for realtors and brokers only, right? So for sale by
Mm,
owners would call or
Commercial,
commercial or short-term rentals would call,
Airbnb, yeah.
and they'd say, well, I saw your prices and like, like, well, wait a minute, why is it double for, for my vacation home? Like, because
Mm.
it is.
I have that
No,
just
it's
on
because
my price sheet so
it
they can
takes
see
three,
it.
it takes 2 to 3 times longer. We shoot it differently.
It's a
There's
different
more,
license, all
it's a
those
different,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
the
things.
So you're going to
licensing.
use it longer. It's not one time, so,
Mm.
but then you have to explain all that, versus now we just simplified it. So like if you're a realtor broker, you log into this one. If you're a short-term rental owner, you log into that one. If you're
Mhm.
commercial, you log into the next
Mm.
one. So,
Yep.
so that's so far so good. We're just a couple months into the year, right?
Yeah.
But that's
That's smart.
worked. And um,
The people that we're going for aren't really hardcore price shopping us. They're looking
Right.
more for our quality, and
Hmm.
that's been another enormous part of our
So you're
shift.
weeding them out right there, which is good.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, so when we started, there was 5 or 6 other companies in Atlanta doing it. I don't know, there's 100 now. I don't know. There's a lot. there's a
Hmm.
Oh,
there is a ton of competition, but we don't want to race to the bottom. I
Yeah.
mean, it's easy
yeah.
to race to the bottom. So we just decided to double down and just we're really I wouldn't say we're only serving luxury, but that's definitely the direction that we're going. We're going more that boutique. And yes, we're absolutely scaling, but we're scaling with the boutique mindset. So
Yeah.
not just to be,
Totally.
we don't want to have 100 people out there and that type of thing. We really want to serve clients that understand our value.
Sorry to interrupt, Rach, but did you hear that when SDS listeners use the code STS, they're getting 10 complete marketing kits?
Yeah, which includes property websites, videos, flyers, and more. Absolutely free. I
Yeah.
love that.
And I always heard so much trash talk about real estate agents and them being cheap and all this stuff. And like, I run into a little of that, but I think partly because I always started as being one of the more expensive ones, I saw rates and I went with the higher rates, not the low rates. And I think that maybe weeded out a lot of those people right off the bat, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
And we were always like at that, 75%, from, or if, if this is the range, we were kind of like, right, right here, somewhere below the 50% and 100%. And, but then when you don't raise your prices for 5 years,
yeah,
whoops.
I know. It's a hard thing to raise your prices because it's scary. You're worried about raising them because you're already
Hmm.
like, I already hear like, oh, you're expensive a lot. So, yeah,
Mhm.
I just raised some of my prices too, and I was like, "Ee." And
Yeah.
yeah, knock on wood, but
Hmm.
yeah. So I
I
know
lowered
that's
mine this year.
What
Actually,
I
I
heard you
didn't.
say
did?
that.
I
I
know.
was gonna,
I
I was
didn't
like,
lower
did I hear that
them.
right?
Wow.
Well, I lowered Matterport because Matterport was too high. I leveled out because I did a lot of
Yeah.
competitive analysis of my
Okay.
main
Yeah.
competitors, and I was higher than most of them.
Hmm.
And I had a new client that I bugged for months to use me, and he finally used me. And he was like, "Well, everything was wonderful. I have no complaints, except you're about 30% higher than my other guy, and you don't offer anything different than him." And
Mm.
I was like,
Wow.
"Okay."
Wow.
So,
Interesting.
and I looked at
Wow.
that and I thought, you know what? He's right. And I looked at the competition. I'm like, a lot of people had really cheap photos in Matterport, but really expensive videos because they
Hmm.
specialize like what you guys are doing,
Mm,
like kind of
hmm,
more
hmm.
tailored, custom videos. And ours are pretty cookie cutter.
Mm.
Um, and so I thought, okay, if we drop the price on Matterport, I'm going to keep my photo prices where they're at and just give a free floor plan, which was $100 add-on.
Hmm.
And we had a lot of people order floor plans. That was a very popular service.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm giving floor plans for free, and that brought us down to closer to what our competition is
Hmm.
with lowering the
Yeah.
Matterport and giving the free floor plan. And then video, I think video just stayed the same. So,
Mm.
and I increased like the agent intro went up by $10. Twilight went up a little bit, but most of it went down. So,
So,
and
Wow.
so far
Rachel, are you super busy?
we're busy. We're steady. Yeah, it's not crazy. January was crazy. We were up 45% over last year, which is awesome.
Hmm.
Wow.
February, we were down about 15%. And this year, we're trending to do pretty much on point what we did last year. But we did a lot last year in early in the year, and then it just kind of fell off. So,
mm.
like, April was our biggest month ever last year. So, to beat April's numbers this year is going to be a miracle. It's going to happen.
You
You
know.
need
I
another
just
surgery.
no, sir. Yeah, I need to go have surgery, and then we'll
Yeah,
have
go
the
have
best month
surgery.
ever. Exactly. Go break another hip,
There you go.
right? Tear another tendon.
It's always when you're
Perfect.
out, you can't get to say, oh man, okay,
I know.
well,
I know.
Rachel needs us. She broke another hip.
Yeah.
Let's book with Rachel.
Fuck with
that's right.
her. I know. That was wild. If three people can handle that volume, I don't need to hire more shooters. So I've also decided not to hire anyone this year. We're just going to
Really?
handle it with our team. Yep. We've got four of us. I'm willing to jump in full time if I need to shoot through busy season. And then hopefully we'll get enough clients to carry us through slow season a little bit more comfortably for the team so that they can have more shoots. If I bring someone else on, it's just going to thin it out for them unless we
Mhm.
grow a lot. So,
Our challenge is we've got so out of our everyone in the field, two are full time, and two are part time, and so it's hard with the part time. That's
mhm.
because sometimes they'll schedule like 10 days off, and like, this was the busiest week we've had yet. Why did you schedule 10 days off?
Yeah.
And sometimes we're like, man, maybe we just need like a bunch of part time. I mean, our full timers, we've got one that's been with us for 5+ years. She's a rock star. It's awesome. The other one that's been with us the longest has been over about 2 years, maybe just over 2 years. And we've had others come and go, of course. Like we've had luck with people that are like doing weddings or sports because it doesn't fall in
Mhm.
with, it doesn't compete with real estate. And then they get busy with their wedding and sports stuff. And like, yeah, I need some time off. Or I need to edit during the day for my other stuff or whatever. But yeah, like there's not a perfect solution, obviously.
No.
Are,
Yeah. And I have
are,
two full time and one part time. And then I'm part time. So, but I'm kind of like, I'm not on the schedule for Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Like they can
Oh,
only really book me
Mm.
Monday, Tuesday.
lucky duck.
I know.
Wow.
But
mm,
I'm the backup. Like when they call and they're like, are you available? Because I have a lot of VIP clients that will just call
Hmm.
me direct instead of the customer service line. And I always put them in. And, or if someone needs like someone can't do it and they need to switch, like I can pop in and do it. Or if something we need to go back to reshoot something, like I'm available
Mm-hmm.
to do that kind of stuff, that kind of pickup
That's
work if I need
interesting.
to.
That's a cool because
So
I'm trying to get out of the field because we've really struggled like trying to find. I mean, Kelly's not. She definitely plays the admin role, but she does a million other things as a co-owner, obviously. But we've tried to find ways to like, other than like our QCVA, just really like to answer the calls and just know the business inside and out. That's a hard position to train. Like I know you've done it, Rachel,
mhm.
and kudos to you for that because that's awesome. We have not had that success, and so I'm like, well, I mean, I'm still full time in the field, and I'm like, trying to figure out like how I need to get out of the field and
Just
help
cut your
Kelly.
schedule. Just take
Yeah,
yourself
but
off one day a week.
we're like we're
Unless you're
like
totally booked.
with
We're
six
so
shooters. We're
over
yeah, we're like our
tapped.
first opening is the 20th of March right now with
Oh
six
my gosh.
people.
Okay. Then you need more shooters. That signals you need more shooters. We're not
Well,
booked. So I can do that. If we were completely getting booked out, I would open my schedule, but we're not. I
Gotcha.
told my assistant that too. I'm like, if we are completely booked on a Wednesday, call me because I can probably shoot. I just don't
We had
want
12
to.
shoots today.
Huh?
We had 12 shoots today.
Wow.
Wow.
Good for you.
Yeah, our
Awesome.
calendar is just, we're slammed.
so I think honestly, this is a whole different conversation, probably a whole nother long podcast. But our
No, we're running out
challenge
of time.
is training. Like I train everybody, but like I'm so busy.
Yeah, it's
It's
so
like
hard.
so that is definitely a bottleneck for us. And this
Hmm.
new guy that we hired, he's actually going to start taking over that role as well as doing the training, just kind of be the team lead. Is so just so I can So I mean,
Yeah,
there's challenges and growth.
I
There is for
asked
sure.
I asked ChatGPT about some plans for growth, and actually, and I wouldn't have thought of this on my own, but it was like start training somebody to be the trainer and give them some
Hmm.
incentive, either a permanent incentive because that's who they are, or temporary for training those people. But I was like, oh yeah, every shooter you hire, train them to be a shooter, and then give them the goal of eventually they can also train for a pay bump that you just don't have to do that anymore. I was like, huh, that's simple. And why didn't I think of that? But okay, thanks, ChatGPT. Yeah.
Genius.
Mm.
Genius.
Everybody can train. Huh.
There
And
you
it's
go.
literally what we did in the restaurant industry. It wasn't official at all, but it was just like, Neil, you're gonna train so and so today. I was like, really? Oh shit. All right. But I did it. And I didn't get paid extra for it either. You know what I mean? Well, I'm like, why didn't I think of that?
Mhm.
Yeah, I take like because I would train everybody, but if I just slowly start having everybody understand they could train, that
Hmm.
it's already in their
Right.
mindset. Oh,
That's what
okay.
I did with my last guy, Michael, that I brought on. Because I literally had like 3.5 weeks to train him before I was out. And I was like, oh boy, okay, you're coming to every shoot with me. So for
Uh-huh.
2 weeks straight, he came almost every day and shot with me. And then when he couldn't come with me, I'd have him go with my other guys. And then when I was out, I still had him like, can you guys, I was like, Colin, can you train Michael you know, for today? And he's like, yeah. Because he needed to learn video too pretty
Hmm.
quickly because
Mm.
I wanted him full service like as soon as possible. So
Yeah.
he picked it up so quick though. He was easy. It's hard because it is very hard to train. That's one of the reasons why I'm like, I'm good. We're just gonna, I don't want to do it.
Mm.
I don't
It's a
want to find
lot. Yeah.
someone.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Especially when
interview.
you,
I don't want to
yeah.
train. I'm like,
Right.
And
it's
then
so
you've spent all this
painful.
time, and then they're like, I don't think I like it. And you're like, oh, dear God.
I
Back to
interviewed
square
three.
one.
I
Yeah.
interviewed three people, and all three of them were like excited, and then none of them worked out. And I was like, oh,
Mm.
now I got to start
Yeah.
over. I'm like, I don't even
It's
want to work for it.
exhausting.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
We're gonna be
That's a
good.
lot.
We have four of us, and we don't do that much volume. I mean, really, we do, but not 2,000 shoots a
Yeah.
year.
Compared to what we hear sometimes on the podcast, they're like, yeah, today I did 20 shoots. I'm like, you did 20 shoots? It's like, yeah, that was me. My team, they did 100. I'm like, what are you talking about?
How's
What
that
one?
possible?
Just the
I did
front shot?
1,000 shoots last year by myself. I'm like, what? Do
Yeah.
you
That's
sleep
Yeah. A
and you
right.
thousand
edit all your
That's
shoots.
own videos?
crazy.
Like,
Yeah. And I'm
wild.
like, he's like, what's a busy day for you? I'm like, I got 3 shoots.
That is a busy day.
That-
Yeah. I'm like,
it is.
sometimes I do 4 and then I sleep for a week.
Uh,
That's
Awesome.
amazing. But
Well,
anyway,
guys, thanks for coming on. And
Thanks for having
having
us.
us.
I just love how you guys took what you learned at PMRE, you got inspired, and you went home and just did it.
so
Like you
cool.
implemented and did it. And
Yeah.
that's, I think, the hardest part because it's so easy to learn and to absorb all this information, but it's the actual implementation that really makes the change. And you guys just
Mm.
ran with it. So congrats. Good job. Keep it up.
well,
And
thank you. We're looking forward to
Thank
seeing
you.
y'all again this year out there.
Yeah, for sure. And one more time, your Instagram handle so people can follow you for inspiration on creative reels.
Local Flavor Films.
Awesome.
With an S.
Cool.
Perfect.
We'd love to hear either one horror story or one hilarious story that's work related.
I know which one she wants to tell. I'm a little scared, but you can tell it.
Are you sure?
I think.
Oh boy, this is gonna be good.
Let's go.
What the heck? What the heck?
Trepidation is a great start.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'm going to leave the room now.
This was a long time ago. This was probably 6 or 7 years ago. We used to do shoots together, actually. Like I would go with him back before we were super busy.
She had her drone license before I did.
Yeah. So I had to be on site. I have never flown a drone, which is so stupid, but I got the license because he didn't have the time to study. But I had to be on site. And so we kind of do this together and it was fun. And I'd go like adjust the blinds and meet the client. And he would we just kind of had a thing going anyway. So I was out on the majority of the shoots with him. So we're, the realtor, was it the realtor or the homeowner? I think it was the realtor.
It's both. I think it was both. I think it was the homeowner. The realtor was ahead of us. I think the realtor was ahead of us. Yeah. He was already somewhere else.
Beautiful home. They were showing us the pool house. It was just this huge house. It was kind of like a big job for us at that time, for sure. And we're just like walking through it and Ryan goes, all of a sudden he's like, "Can I use your restroom?" But at the same time he asked the question, he farted.
I was like, "Can I have your bathroom?"
And I tried like so hard to just keep it together. And I
Please tell me you laughed.
The table. Yeah, he is like, and I'm like, oh my God. Now he's gonna think you're just gonna go blow up the bathroom. Like it was so embarrassing.
Did you like hold your pants as you ran by?
Oh my gosh. They were like, sure, it's right over here. Like the whole thing was so awkward. We never got another job from them, by the way.
You did
Never
it?
did? Oh my
I don't know if it was that, but like we had so much going on that day that I was like, we didn't even talk about it in the car because so much else happened. That finally when we got home, when we got home, he's like at the editing station. I like went downstairs. I was like, by the way, did you totally fart whenever you asked me to go to the bathroom? And we both just lost it. It's like,
I was like, oh, you noticed?
Like you heard that? I'm like, yes.
I tried to squeak my shoe.
Yeah, you tried to kick a table or something.
You love that. You're like rub the chair like, oh, that made a funny noise, and everybody's like, yeah,
these squeaky shoes.
That wasn't the chair, buddy.
One of my finer moments.
Oh,
sorry, that was the only thing that came to mind.
That is outstanding. You'll never live that one down, dude. I love it.
That's great.
That's amazing.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it. Thanks for allowing it, Brian. That was nice of you. That was a great story.
Hey, you know what? It happens to all of us, right?
Anything for a laugh.
We're a sharing community. I'm pretty sure I heard the realtor let one rip the other day. Like this little realtor, she was just talking, and I heard a little as she was talking, like a little like. You know what I mean? I just didn't say anything, but she blatantly walked away like, "Oh God, did he hear it?" You know what I mean?
I'm gonna blame it on Alexa, but I don't think Alexa was around back then.
For other one too. He
There's more?
combined two words.
Oh God, that one.
He said he was going upstairs to take a peek, but he combined look and peek. So he said, "I'm just gonna go upstairs and take a leak." It's always like bathroom related with us. I don't know.
I'm just gonna go upstairs and take a leak. Thank you for the update.
They're like, did he just say leak?
That one.
Yeah, exactly.
That's hilarious.
I was like, wait, look, peek, whoops.
It's no wonder we get along because that's where my comedy level's at right there.
12-year-old level.
Yeah. Oh man,
that's right at my level.
Bathroom humor, buddy.
Bathroom humor, baby. Keep it coming.
On that note,
awesome. Well, thanks so much, guys. We appreciate you being on. It's too funny. I can't.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
I can't talk because my smile is like permanent.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. It was awesome to hear your business model, what you're doing with social media, all the stuff. It's very inspiring. And I think a lot of listeners will possibly reconsider how they're charging because that's an interesting model. I like it.
For sure.
Welcome to reach out to us. Happy to answer any questions.
Awesome.
Super cool. Thanks
for having us.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.